Howdy folks, welcome to Monday and another episode of Mingles with Jingles, and I have a hell of a lot to cover in this week's episode, and I'm almost certainly going to forget something because that's just how I roll. Starting off with some more footage from Michael Bay's new movie, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Sorry, Activision's new game, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. It's so easy to get those two confused. Massive spoilers here, by the way. Probably should have said that at the start, but who is really surprised by anything that happens in a Call of Duty game? Having said that though, I must say in their favour that they do at least to try to subvert your expectations, because everybody knows what to expect when they go into a Call of Duty game, the single player campaign anyway. You know, you get those parts during the course of the narrative where you think, hello, I've seen something like this in the first Modern Warfare game, or I've seen this happen in the second or the third Modern Warfare game. And they do at least attempt to make you think in certain places that, yeah, I've seen this before, and then they put a twist on it. So it doesn't always work, but I do appreciate the fact that they are at least trying to not just recycle the same old stuff that you've seen before in all of the other Call of Duty games. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still not sure it's worth the money. This is a ridiculously expensive game, but as far as the actual content goes, it's alright. I have been quite enjoying it. It's not the only new game I've been playing recently, of course. World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor came out in the EU last week, and the game itself is great. It really, really is just amazingly good. And I'll be doing a Warlords of Draenor video over the next couple of days. The only problem is that, well, Blizzard have been doing this for 10 years now. This is their 5th expansion, and the expansion releases have never been other than unmitigated disasters. Their servers just cannot handle the strain. Yeah, I know how you feel, little fella.
We are yours to command.
The mighty Jingles in person. Warlords of Draenor really is great. They've even given me my own secret lair, and all kinds of neat stuff in the secret lair, although it's not that secret. I even have a salt mine. But, you know, more on Warlords of Draenor. In the next couple of days, I'll be doing a video on it specifically, so all that to come. Meanwhile, in World of Tanks...
100 years ago, Europe was on fire. The First World War had begun. A war that would reshape the world. Empires would fall. Borders would change. And new leaders will arise on the battlefields. This autumn, the Great War will rage again on the global map in World of Tanks. 3 stages: Race to the Sea, Hell of Verdun, Fall of the Empires. To win, both players and clans must earn fame. Warriors will earn fame in battles. The best ones will pick their own rewards. One of 3 unique tanks. Clans have 2 paths. The first and the simplest one is to fight. After a battle, a clan will get as much fame as is earned by its players. The second path is to complete special missions in the campaign. The fame earned in battles and missions will be added up. The clans with the most fame will win the Great War and share the prize gold. Everyone will get special rewards. Good luck in battle.
So, the third Clan Wars campaign is kicking off, and to celebrate the start, Wargaming EU are doing an event called The Community Strikes Back. What the hell's that? Well, the 2 campaign areas that are going to be held and defended by Wargaming are Ile-de-France and Minsk, and in the Ile-de-France region they're starting off with a live event featuring members of the Wargaming EU community. If you have a look there, for example, at the top of the list, you can see the World of Tanks product specialist Oberian is going to be teamed up with Quickie Baby, who will be live streaming tonight, 1700 CET, when the whole thing kicks off, accompanied by the Finnish clan RSOP, and they're going to be attacking Ile-de-France live on Twitch TV. And it's not just Quickie Baby and RSOP, of course. Each EU community have got their own representatives. German language community represented by the YouTuber Defarzii and the fantastic German clan Jumbo, the Turks represented by Osman, and the Turkish clan Barber. And I must say, I do love the name of the Polish clan, the Strong Sima community. Fantastic. So that's all happening tonight, 1700 CET. But hang on, Jingles, if this is all, prominent YouTubers and Twitch celebrities, then why didn't they ask you? Well, they wanted people who were actually good. So straight away you can see why I wasn't asked to take part. Anyway, what's next? So what else is new? Well, Elite Dangerous, less than a month to go before the game goes into full release on the 16th of December. And a lot of people have been asking, is this a free-to-play game? No, it isn't. But there's no subscription fee either. You buy the game and then that's it. In the future, there'll be microtransactions, stuff that you can buy, like paint jobs for your ships and stuff. But other than that, it's completely one-shot purchase. One thing that was brought to my attention quite recently, to do with the scale of the game, obviously, 400 billion star systems, yeah, but have a look at the habitation ring of this space station. The surface area of that one habitation ring, and some of these stations have got more than one of these rings, is greater than the entire playable area in Grand Theft Auto 5. Holy shit. So, there's that. Now, you can't actually get out of the ship and go wandering around the habitation rings of these space stations, but that sort of thing is planned for a future expansion. So, Elite Dangerous, full release, 16th of December. Of course, those of us who have backed the game since Alpha are going to have access to what they're calling the Gamma Test, which is coming after the end of the third premium beta. And effectively, the Gamma Test is early access for people who've backed the game since the start. We're going to be given the opportunity to catch a bit of a head start on everybody else who will be playing for the first time on the 16th of December. So, looking forward to that. Speaking of space games, a couple of days ago, and many of you will have already seen the video I did on this, I got the opportunity to pop down to EdgeCase Games Studios once again. EdgeCase Games, formerly known as Born Ready Games, the developers of Strike Suit Zero, and filmed them while they were conducting one of the last internal alpha tests on their new game, Fractured Space. And you can see here they've been hard at work adding textures and lighting effects to some of the ships in Fractured Space. This one's coming up for Steam Early Access on the 20th of November. I've also been taking part in the alpha playtesting, and it's going to be fun, a lot of fun. The best way to describe this game is a sort of mix of Homeworld 2, World of Tanks, and League of Legends, but with big old capital ships, massive space battles in the style of Battlestar Galactica, the new Battlestar Galactica, not the old one from the 70s and the 80s. This has been a lot of fun, and I can see myself wasting many, many hours playing this in the future. So, Fractured Space, Steam Early Access, 20th of November. So, on a more personal note, some of you have noticed in the last couple of videos that I've uploaded that there's no longer an option to view them at 60 frames per second. This has actually been quite deliberate. I'm deliberately uploading videos at 1080p capped at 30 frames per second. And the reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people... a couple of weeks back when YouTube and Google did the change to the way that videos are displayed, particularly high resolution, high frame rate videos, changes to the way that they were displayed on YouTube, there were a lot of people, particularly Firefox users, but there were people using all of the different kinds of browsers that just couldn't watch anything suddenly higher than 480p. Well, a lot of the browser developers have caught up now. They've fixed their browsers, and most people are able to watch the videos at 1080p and 60 frames per second, and they do look fantastic, providing your connection and your computer is man enough to take it. If it's not, you're struggling to watch videos in 720p at 60 frames per second, then because Google aren't offering you the option, for example, to watch a video at 720p at 30 frames per second, it's 60 frames per second, or you're back to watching videos at 480p. If there was a 30 frame per second option available, a lot of you out there would be quite happily watching the videos at 1080p or 720p at 30 frames per second, and your system would quite easily be able to handle that. But there is no 30 frames per second option if you're watching in high resolution. So it's 480p for an awful lot of people out there, and YouTube videos in full screen at 480p look like a fucking dog's dinner. And it's just no fun. So I have quite deliberately scaled down the frame rate on all of the videos that I've been uploading in the last couple of days, and will continue to do so, to 1080p with 30 frames per second at the most, because that way everybody can watch them at an acceptable resolution and an acceptable frame rate. I appreciate that they're not going to look quite as good for those of you with great computers and great connections as they did when they were running at 1080p and 60 frames per second, but you're not really missing out on an awful lot. If I was to continue doing things the old way, then far too many of you were going to be reduced to watching these videos at 480p, and that's just unacceptable. So until Google start offering more viewing options for videos that are rendered at high frame rate and high resolution, I'm scaling back to capping everything at 30 frames per second, so the maximum number of people can watch my videos at the best possible frame rate and resolution for them. In other news, while recording this episode of Mingles with Jingles, I've just tabbed out to check my YouTube channel, and it appears that I have 299,459 subscribers, so just over 500 to go, and given the current rate of growth, that's probably going to happen in 2 or 3 days. I'll have 300,000 subscribers at last, and I have no idea what to do to celebrate. I mean, obviously I'm going to do something, but a replay contest is out of the question. It's just no way. I mean, I'm getting like 200 to 300 replays a day anyway. If I suddenly started doing another replay contest, that would triple, and it's just not possible to look at them all. So replay contest out of the question. And apart from anything else, doing a replay contest is only really... I mean, you can do it in War Thunder now, because the War Thunder replay system is really good these days. But giving away stuff... If I give away World of Tanks premium tanks, if I give away World of Tanks gold, stuff like that, that's fine. But it only really... You know, it's only good for those of you who play World of Tanks. The War Thunder gift shop is pretty terrible. You can only really buy stuff for yourself, so I can't give away prizes in War Thunder. So what I was thinking of doing was, instead of, you know, picking stuff from the World of Tanks premium shop, which is only good for people who play World of Tanks, and not everybody that comes to my channel because they play World of Tanks, you know, there are War Thunder players, there are people who are interested in the space games that I cover, and so on and so on. So I thought I have to come up with prizes that are going to be non-exclusive. So things like Jingles merchandise from my Spreadshirt store, you know, t-shirts, mouse mats, mugs, that sort of thing. Amazon gift vouchers, keys for games on Steam, PC graphics cards, you know, things like that. Something that everybody is going to be able to use. The thing is, figuring out what sort of things to give away is only part of the problem. The bigger part of the problem is figuring out how to do it. Now, a replay contest, out of the question, for numerous reasons that I've already covered. A Facebook contest, also out of the question. And not just because not everybody uses Facebook. I mean, you know, if you don't use Facebook, fine, that's your choice. But it's too easy to scam a Facebook contest. I did run a Facebook contest in the past, and some scumbag cloned the Facebook page of the winner and then posted a reply saying, "Yay, it's me, fantastic, I won, where's my prize?" And I ended up sending him the World of Tanks code for a very rare and exclusive tank. We got it back, you know, I had to contact Wargaming Direct, and they made sure that the tank was deleted from his account and the correct person eventually got it. But it's just too easy to do stuff like that on Facebook, so no Facebook contests. So I'm kind of stuck, you know, I know more or less the sort of things that I want to be given away, I just don't know how I'm going to pick the winners. And then it occurred to me, well, you know, 300,000 subscribers, ask them. So here's your chance. So come on then, how am I going to determine who wins what for my 300,000 subscriber giveaway? Should I run a contest? Should I just pick people whose comments I like at random? What am I going to do? And if I like your suggestion, you never know, you may even win a prize. Don't know what the prize is going to be yet, but it will be something you can use. All of which brings me on to a very, very important point, and if you take nothing else away from this video, remember what I'm about to say here. You have to make sure that I can actually reply to a comment that you've posted on my YouTube videos. If I can't reply to your comment, I can't send you a prize. It's as simple as that. Now, I know in the past YouTube had a thing called content lock, and this has been frustrating a while ago, in that people have posted comments on my videos and I've wanted to send a reply, or they've sent me a private message on YouTube and I've wanted to send a reply, but they've had this thing called content lock enabled, which means that nobody can communicate with them over YouTube, whether that's reply to a comment on a video or send them a direct PM. I don't know if content lock is still a thing, but if it is, turn it off. Otherwise, you can't win a prize. On a similar note, there are an awful lot of you out there who, for one reason or another, can't stand Google and have refused to get Google Plus accounts, or haven't linked their Google Plus account to their YouTube account. The same thing applies here. If you haven't done that, then nobody can reply to comments that you make on YouTube videos. This is your choice. You know, if you don't like Google and you don't want anything to do with Google Plus, I fully understand and I fully sympathize. But what it means is that you have chosen for nobody to be able to reply to comments that you make on YouTube videos. And once again, if I cannot reply to your comments, I can't send you a prize. So you need to have a Google Plus account and you need to have it linked to your YouTube account. Otherwise, no prizes for you either. It's not my fault, it's your decision, and it's the way Google runs YouTube. So, having said that, let's have your suggestions. What should I do to celebrate getting 300,000 subscribers? How should I decide who the lucky winners are going to be? Let's have some contest ideas. And, you know, it doesn't have to be contests. It could be just giveaways, and if that's the case, then how am I going to do a giveaway? Bear in mind that I can't just jump onto Quickie Baby or Circumflex's live stream and take over the show and turn it into a Jingles 300,000 subscriber giveaway live stream. You know, that would just be rude. It's their live streams, not mine. So, you know, bearing that in mind, how is this all going to work? Let's have your suggestions in the comments to this video. And as I said, if I like your suggestions, there may be a prize in it for you, just as long as, you know, I can respond to your comment. Right, I think that's everything. I think I've covered everything that I needed to mention. 300,000 subscribers, yep, covered that. Fractured Space, going into early access, yep, covered that. Elite Dangerous, released on the 16th of December, yep, covered that. Mentioned that I'm going to be doing a World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor video in the next couple of days, yep, done that. I'm sure I've forgotten something. Oh, Star Citizen, yes. Star Citizen subscribers have got a new piece of fluff for their hanger. It's a drinks cabinet. That's it for Star Citizen, I'm afraid. Yeah, well, you know, that's the thing with Star Citizen. They're handcrafting absolutely everything in the game, so it takes a while to get new content. When Star Citizen actually has anything, you know, worth showing, I'll show it. But they don't, so I don't. Oh, there was one other thing. Another new game that I've been playing lately. I've been playing an awful lot of new games lately. It's called This War of Mine. I picked it up on Steam. Very cheap. Comes from an indie developer. And I'd never heard of it. And literally, for some reason, it just caught my eye on Steam. And I thought, well, it's pretty cheap. I'll get it and see what it's like. And it's a really, really good game. I'm going to be doing a video of it in a couple of days. Hopefully. Really, really busy at the moment. But basically, the idea is that the country you live in has been racked by a civil war. And you play the role of a bunch of civilians just attempting to survive on a day-to-day basis with the rebel forces and the government forces on both sides, and you're basically stuck in the middle in a bombed-out building trying to make the place safe, trying to not starve to death, trying to not freeze to death, trying not to get killed by looters and, you know, rebel forces and so on and so on. And it's a very, very depressing game, and I suspect, you know, if you come from some of the former Yugoslavian states, countries like Bosnia and Croatia, particularly if you lived through the Civil War, a game like this is going to be really, really close to the knuckle. Might hit a little bit too close to home, but it's a very, very good game, and I'll be putting a video of that up in the next couple of days as well. It's called This War of Mine. So again, you know, more new stuff coming on the YouTube channel. Right, I think that's it. Oh no, just remembered, you know, I really should write all this stuff down before I come to do an episode of Mingles with Jingles, rather than relying on my terrible memory. Like, you know, have some sort of script, so I know what sort of points I'm going to cover. But yes, just remembered, this weekend, 23rd of November, at the Museum of Naval Firepower at Priddy's Hard in Gosport, Hampshire, they're having a military collectors fair. And I'm going along to that, see if I can pick up some bargains. And I'll take the video camera as well. Because, well, you know, it's at the Museum of Naval Firepower, and I've never been there, which is a real shame, because that's the thing. You know, you spend 22 years in the Navy with a Navy ID card, which allows you free access to all of these museums, and there's a massive range of military museums around the Portsmouth area, but you never bother going. You know, when you can get in for free, you don't bother going. And now that I've left the Navy and I actually want to go and visit all these museums, I have to pay to get in. HMS Victory, Second Sea Lord's flagship, the old veteran of the Battle of Trafalgar, it's there in the dockyard. And I could have gotten on board for free with a Navy ID card. Now I have to pay. Museum of Naval Firepower, could have gotten in for free with a Navy ID card. Now I have to pay. So, yeah. Also, what I'm planning to do, got a lot of museum visits coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks. There's a Royal Armouries artillery museum up at Fort Nelson, just around Portsmouth as well. So I'm planning on visiting that. Myself and my faithful but incompetent camera minion Eddie are going to be going along, and hopefully, you know, those will be good. Particularly the Military Collectors Fair at, just in case you didn't get it the first time, the the Explosion Museum of Naval Firepower at Prittishard in Gosport, Hampshire, 23rd November 2014. If you are in the area and you see me there, by all means, call me out, stop, shake my hand, get your picture taken, whatever. Always a pleasure to meet subscribers. And you never know, I might spot some cool stuff that I can use as prizes to give away for the 300,000 subscriber thing. So, yeah, everybody's a winner. Okay, I'm reasonably sure that I've covered everything I wanted to mention in this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles. And if I haven't, tough, because we're 21 minutes into the video now. Not an awful lot of time left. And I really do need to move on with other stuff. But the next thing that I wanted to talk about was reliving those golden gaming moments. And I bring this subject up because a lot of you have let me know that good old games have remastered and released those old Star Wars spaceflight simulators, X-Wing and TIE Fighter, the games that made me buy a PC in the first place. I used to be a Commodore Amiga gamer, first a Commodore 500 and then the Amiga 1200, and I heard that as they were then, Lucasfilm Games were releasing a spaceflight simulator where you could fly an X-Wing for the Rebel Alliance. And it was going to come out on the Commodore Amiga. And that made me very, very happy in my pants. And then the bad news that it was going to be PC only. And that was basically it as far as I was concerned. Sorry, Commodore Amiga, you've had your day, but it's time to move on. And this is literally what got me into PC gaming. And they were amazing. They really, really were fantastic. Elite Dangerous uses some of the power management elements that you had when you were playing X-Wing, having to shift power between weapons, shields and engines in order to get the best possible performance out of your starfighter. You know, that's an idea that was pioneered in X-Wing by, as they were then, Lucasfilm Games. It was a fantastic game, absolutely amazing, and the sequel, TIE Fighter, was even better. But the thing is, I have resisted going ahead and getting those games from Good Old Games because I have such perfect memories of playing those games that I really, really don't want to spoil them. You see, the thing is, those games were amazing, and I have such great memories of them because they were so brutally hard. Hard in a way that people just wouldn't stand for these days. Back in the day when X-Wing and TIE Fighter were the cutting edge of PC gaming technology, just as an example, X-Wing consisted of three, what they call tours of duty, 3 campaigns that you played through in order to finish up with the Battle of the Death Star, which happened at the end of the first Star Wars movie. If at any point you died and failed a mission throughout any one of the tours of duty, it was all the way back to the start. And do the whole thing over again. Not just do the mission again, do the entire tour of duty again. People just wouldn't stand for that sort of thing today. And part of the reason why I look back on these games with, you know, such fond memories is because finishing them was a major achievement. They were bastard hard games to finish. Another reason why these games are so fondly remembered is because at the time they were the cutting edge of PC gaming technology. Nothing else looked or sounded or played as well as X-Wing or TIE Fighter. The music in particular was revolutionary. It used a MIDI soundtrack recreating the classic John Williams Star Wars themes. But the way that it did it was nobody had ever done it before. You always knew, for example, that fresh TIE Fighters had just turned up because the music would be playing along and then it would start to segue into the Imperial March. And when you heard that, you knew, uh-oh, fresh bad guys have arrived. Nobody had ever done anything like that before. And therein lies the problem, because they're not cutting-edge PC technology anymore. And lots of other games, heavily influenced by X-Wing and TIE Fighter, have done the same things that X-Wing and TIE Fighter have done, with access to better technology, and they've done it better. And so I really, really don't want to spoil the perfect memories that I have of these games by playing them again on a modern computer. I really don't want to play them again and have myself thinking, God, that looks and sounds terrible, or that game mechanic is just ridiculous. Who stands for that? You know, kind of in the same way that when you're 7 and you watch the terrible Star Wars prequels, you think, oh, Jar Jar Binks is really cool and funny. And then, you know, when you've grown up, you watch them again thinking those movies were fantastic, and suddenly you realise just exactly how bad they are, and you're horribly, horribly embarrassed for yourself. And I really don't want that to happen with some of the best games that I've ever played. I'd rather remember them as they were. Perfect. And on that bombshell, I'm ending this week's episode of Mingles with Jingles, because I really, really want to get back and play more Warlords of Draenor. I am horribly, horribly addicted. So, yeah, let me know what sort of things should I do to give away stuff for celebrating reaching 300,000 subscribers. And in the meantime, take care, watch yourself on that battlefield, and I'll catch you next time.